In today's matchup, we have Rodan from Godzilla King of the Monsters versus Otachi from Pacific Rim. I do want to give a spoiler warning for Godzilla King of the Monsters, a big spoiler warning because I'm going to be going over things that happen in this movie. As far as Rodan goes, I'm sure all of you have already seen this movie by now, but I wanted to give a spoiler warning anyway. Rodan is standing at around 150 feet tall with a wingspan of 870 feet and weighing 39,000 tons. And Otachi is a Category 4 kaiju, standing at around 200 feet tall and weighing around 2,600 tons. Rodan is referenced in Godzilla King of the Monsters as the fire demon and the one born of fire, and is quoted by the director is like a winged A-bomb, like a massive A-bomb, with all the destruction that Rodan can really create. Rodan has a sharp, serrated beak that appears like he has teeth, but he really doesn't, and has two legs with sharp claws on the end of them. Otachi came out of the double event in the middle of the movie of Pacific Rim, and has severe toxicity, has the acid ability that was able to melt Jaegers in the first Pacific Rim, and has the prehensile tail that was very effectively used, and can walk on the back two legs or on all fours with a good center of gravity. And one thing that is very similar between these two is that they can both fly. Obviously, Rodan always flies, and Otachi has the option to fly. But this is actually where they are different, because Otachi has the option to not fly. The wings can fold up, and it can use a lot of different strategies on the ground with the long arms. But in Rodan's case, Rodan just has the wings and cannot really fight on the ground. As far as what we've seen, Rodan doesn't have long arms to use, has a massive wingspan, but Otachi actually has that option on the ground, battle better on the ground as far as that goes, and Rodan can only fly and cannot fold up his wings. And while Otachi can fight on the ground better as far as Rodan really can't, Rodan is much better in the air, I feel like, because Rodan has the ability to close his wings up in the thunderclap type formation where he was able to fold up his wings and basically be invulnerable to any damage, was able to destroy many different airplanes, and was able to be basically invulnerable in that position. You see this in the trailer, he kind of folds up, and with that move right there, that proves that Rodan is better in the air, and Otachi is better on the ground, even though both of these kaijus can fly. And as far as their feats go, Rodan, as far as in Godzilla King of the Monsters, when awakened from the volcano, Rodan flew over a city when being lured out by Monarch, and when flying over the city, just absolutely annihilates it. We even saw this shot in the trailer, but I wasn't really for sure if that was just Rodan or if that was a combination of King Ghidorah, but it really was Rodan just picking up cars and sending everything flying, just going over a city. So the amount of destruction Rodan can create is just unbelievable, and Rodan, right after that same scene, took out many fighter jets doing crazy moves in the air, which just proves more that Rodan is better in the air and more agile, or at least shows that better in Godzilla King of the Monsters. Doing the spinning move in the air, taking out all the jets, eating the one pilot straight out of the plane, trying to eject. And later in Godzilla King of the Monsters, Rodan was able to knock around Mothra, and even though Mothra did end up stabbing Rodan through the chest with the stinger, that actually only proves Rodan is tougher, because yes, Mothra did stab the stinger right through Rodan, and you thought he died, but he was actually able to take that and still walk away from it, which is very impressive. Was able to get stabbed right through the chest from Mothra from the stinger, and you saw him show up still at the end, still alive, which shows how tough Rodan really is. And as far as feats go for Otachi, I do feel that Otachi has Rodan beat in this aspect, just because of basically probably more screen time, but just because I think Otachi did a lot more. Otachi in Pacific Rim took out Crimson Typhoon just with the tail alone, ripped the head right off of Crimson Typhoon in seconds, and disabled Cherno Alpha with the acid, which is just two Jaegers right off the bat. Two legendary Jaegers that were able to do so much and get so many kaiju kills in the past. And just proving Otachi's durability, which I do feel Otachi's durability is better than Rodan's. Otachi was able to take a beating from 4 different Jaegers, was able to get sliced up by Crimson Typhoon, was able to get hit around by Cherno Alpha, at least 3 to 4 major hits from Cherno Alpha, and then took a beating from Striker Eureka, and at least 7 hits from Striker Eureka with the brass knuckles, and then ended up taking a beating from Gypsy Danger. The boat sword and many different punches throughout that battle ended up getting the tail ripped off, but it still didn't stop Otachi. So I do feel that Otachi definitely has to have the feats on his side because of how many Jaegers that Otachi took out and how much of a beating Otachi took from all of these different Jaegers. But as far as comparing all the data we went over, Rodan is obviously having the size on his side, which I still always think that the size comparisons about what they actually weigh is different in the different universes, but as far as this goes, I'm just going to go with what I have. So Rodan has an obvious size advantage, weighing 39,000 tons, and Otachi weighing under 3,000 tons, and has the size advantage as far as that goes. Rodan is shorter than Otachi, but inevitably in the air that won't matter. So size is on Rodan's side. I do think feats is on Otachi's side because of how many Jaegers Otachi was able to take out. How many Jaegers he was able to take out in how little of a time. And agility definitely has to go to Rodan because of the moves that you see Rodan doing in the air, and the crazy spin moves taking out the pilots, and the thunderclap formation, the thunderclap move that he makes in the air in order to destroy some of the jets. I mean, Rodan has to get agility, he has to, just from that one scene alone in Godzilla King of the Monsters. And as far as durability goes, Otachi I feel has that because of how much damage Otachi took. Now, while Rodan did take the hard hit from Mothra in the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters, that's really the only durability you see. He does get shot out of the sky from King Ghidorah, which is something I kind of forgot to note, but he kind of gets shot out of the air, and that was a very quick fight. So I feel durability just has to go to Otachi just because of all the different things that Otachi got hit by and just kept going, just massive damage again and again and again, taking on every Jaeger essentially. And the last thing that is kind of the deciding factor is deadliness. Now, both of these kaijus are very deadly. Otachi has high toxicity with the acid and the tail, and Rodan is just a fire demon and has the sharp serrated beak and the wings, and just it's like a winged A-bomb, like it's stated, and it's just an absolute beast. But I do feel that Otachi gets the deadliness in here. I do feel I'd have to give deadliness to Otachi just because of all the weaponry that Otachi goes into battle with. The acid would be a very hard counter, and I really don't know how Rodan would be able to deal with that. I would be guessing maybe his skin would be tough enough, but just between the acid and the tail and the horns, Otachi I just feel like is too much of a beast, and you could say the weight is just the deciding factor no matter what, but I do feel that Otachi being a little bit taller, having the long tail that Rodan doesn't have, and having the acid, I feel like is too much, and while this would be a really good fight, and I feel that Rodan definitely has the agility, I think that Otachi would ultimately come up with the win in this fight. But as always, let me know down below what you thought of this matchup and who you think will win, because obviously there's no real answer, but make sure you let me know down below if you disagree, agree with me, who you think will win in this matchup, and thanks for watching.